how does the U.S. currently prioritize Central Asia in its foreign policy amid competition with China and Russia?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me today. And that is an excellent question, excellent synopsis of the rivalry between Russia, China, and the United States. We find that America is actually rushing to catch up. We've seen that Russia has spent many years establishing and reaffirming their deep historical ties with India, China, and now Iran. We see that China has spent decades investing in infrastructure as for their Belt and Road Initiative. And meanwhile, the United States has had a hegemonic, expansionist attitude towards Central Asia, in which we have felt we could bully or intimidate. But what we are finding now is we have lost ground and the United States needs to catch up. However, with this current administration, the United States is sending very mixed messages. What we were seeing with the Trump administration is we have deep divisions and deep factions, even within the Republican Party and at a broader level, the United States as a whole. So unless the United States can unify behind a coherent strategy of deepening trade, less belligerence, less hegemonic aggression, then the United States will find ourselves at a disadvantage in Central Asia, as evidenced by the rise of the BRICS and alternative global trading relationships. And once again, perhaps the most significant event we are seeing is that Russia has shored up its support first with India many years ago, and then more recently with China, and now Iran. Which opens up the north-south corridor to allow Russia to import goods through Iran, thus evading the economic sanctions that the West has tried to impose on Russia and also on China. On Russia and on Iran, which are the most heavily sanctioned countries in the world, which has forced them to create workarounds and alternative trade relationships, which has wound up acting to the detriment of the United States. So once again, we're seeing a very coherent strategy, a long-term strategy on the part of China and Russia. We're seeing the United States rushing to catch up with mixed signals, as we are also bogged down in Europe, in Eastern Ukraine, and also in the Middle East. So
yes, we'll still need to further elaborate on this complex relationship, but I'll go to you, Mr. Lee, now. How has China's approach to Central Asia evolved in recent years from your own perspective?
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for having me. China has moved from a background economic player to a strategic, multi-dimensional partner in Central Asia, historically cautious and very quiet, and Beijing now emphasizes political trust, national security, regional security, anti-terrorist organization like SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and long-term development. And 2 years later, there was a summit between China and Central Asia in Xi'an, China, and President Xi Jinping announced that China will provide Chinese 6 billion yen, approximately 3.8 billion USD, in financing support to help Central Asian nations to build modernized infrastructure and economies. And let me give you a true story for myself. I have lots of connections from Central Asia's business partner, friends, and all in Central Asia, and they have at least 2 BYD all made in China, and they really like the Chinese product nowadays. And they showed me a group chat on Telegram. It's called the True Friends of BYD, if we translate back to English, and there are 300,000 members across Central Asia, and you can see that China has been gaining lots of footsteps, gaining the sphere of influence as a soft power in Central Asia. And as the art of war teaches us to win without fighting its best, China is securing influence not through confrontation, but through connectivities, diplomacy over dominance, and roles over rivalry.